Hey guys, hope everybody's staying safe out there. I finally had some time to get out and work on the Colorado project. I actually found a hole, as you can see. I was hoping that I was just going to be able to sand that little bit of rust that was on that fender off and that'd be fine. But after just a little bit of sanding, there was a hole. So this is how I go about patching a hole like this. I've done it on other vehicles throughout the years that I've fixed up, and it seems to hold up really well. I really doubt this is how the professionals do it, but it's worked pretty good for me. I just basically put a piece of metal there. I trace that piece of metal out. I cut the rusty area out. And I usually cut it just a little bit smaller, the rusty area. And then I set the piece of metal up there and just tack weld it up all the way around. And once it's all welded up, grind it down fairly smooth and put some little bit of primer over it. Let that dry really well. And I usually use some short strand fiberglass filler. I put that over top of the metal and the primer, and it works pretty good. It usually works out pretty good. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. And here comes the bad welding. If I was doing this again, I should have cut that piece about 2 or 3 inches longer, and because the metal down there at the bottom is very, very soft, and that's where I blew through the truck fender a little bit down near the bottom there. But it's not a big deal because I'm putting fiberglass over it anyway, so you're not going to see it. And when this is all done, I spray the back side of it with rust check, because up here in Canada we have loads of salt on the roads in the wintertime, and yeah, wreaks havoc on metal. So, but yeah, I certainly gonna spray the backside of this whole truck bed with rust check, and that'll prevent any further rust from happening. It's good stuff. So, but yeah, this is just a fair welding job. But what I do is I try and, as I'm tacking that piece on, I try and do different areas so that I'm not overheating one area of the metal. It'll greatly reduce the chances of the metal warping or bending. And one thing I'll say too is make sure both surfaces are very clean. In other words, grind down as best you can, right down to bare metal. And even the piece you're welding on, make sure it's clean all around the edges, because the weld will take much better. It'll do a lot better job. And this is just a little MIG welder I have. It's a Mastercraft brand, I believe. Bought it at Canadian Tire. It's been a great little welder. It's worked great for me. This is my second MIG welder I've had. I had another one. It was I also bought it at Canadian Tire, but I believe it was called a Handycore welder. And it worked really well too. I had that one for 5 or 6 years, and I did a lot of projects with it. So this one's a little bit better. It's a little bit heavier welder, but it works great. It works excellent for what I use it for. So anyway, I'm just grinding getting the rough stuff off it there, and there you can see now I primed it, and now I'm going to start mixing up some body filler here and get that put on. And you can see down near the bottom there where I blew through a couple of places. That happens sometimes, usually when the metal's a little on the lighter side. This is just short strand fiberglass filler. You just mix some hardener in with it and spread it on. I bought this at Canadian Tire. It's great stuff. Very strong, very sturdy when it dries, and it's fairly easy to sand. I think the first time I sanded it, I used 80 grit, and then when I put the actual body filler on after this, I go to I believe it's a 150 grit. And then I'll prime that, and then usually I'll go down to about a 320 and then a 400. I'll prime and sand it a couple of times. I'll get down to around a 400, and by the time you get to 400, the scratches are, you don't see too many scratches in it. I mean, this is just an old hot rod truck anyway, so I'm not being too picky with it. There's my messy shop. And yeah, now I'm going to start sanding it here. That's just a little electric orbital sander that I have. I believe it's a Makita. It works excellent. Highly recommend Makita. They're good products. I used to have a Makita, and it was old, very old, and had it for years and years, and it finally died, and I bought this new one. This one's probably a couple of years old now, and it's still going strong. But it works great for doing this kind of stuff. And that's, I believe, 80 grit is what I'm using there. And as you can see, it's sanding it down fairly quickly. Does a very good job. And this is just some lightweight auto body filler. Certainly not for using for filling in holes and stuff. Just won't work that great. But it's basically just to put a skim coat on over top of the fiberglass layer that I just did. And this just helps to smooth out all the little wrinkles and bumps that might be there, that probably are there, because I am certainly not a professional at this. So but I can do an okay job, so I'm happy with it. So it looks pretty good. Anyway, so we just have to let that dry, and then we come back in, and this is the 150 grit sandpaper, and we just start sanding. And that's basically it. And spray a little primer over top of that, and you're done. Well, except for paint, of course. If you want to put a color of paint over top of that, you can. But that's about it. That's how I patch a hole in a fender, or fix a rust hole in a fender. That's how I do it. Anyway, everybody out there, stay safe. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy all my other videos. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And the videos are going to keep coming. Stay safe, everybody.